So Sue, tell me more about how your lifestyle has changed from your experiences. Do you now live a more sustainable life on a personal level?
The biggest thing I've done, the house I'm sitting in now is 300 years old, and we had it renovated, and I refused to have oil central heating. I can't tell you how difficult it was to get any heating engineer who could tell me that it was actually possible to switch away from oil. We now have a zero carbon emission house. So we use an air source heat pump, and I have a electricity contract based solely on renewables.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan? Where did it come from? Where was the inspiration for that?
Paul Polman changed the game completely and said, look, there has to be a better, more responsible model of capitalism. This is going to be really hard. We don't know how much of this we're going to deliver, but we're sure if we're public about it and people understand our motives, that will become a magnet for the people who can help us. And the more you say something can't be done, the more Paul will say, we'll watch this space. And so I want to say to anybody watching this film right up front, single most important thing you have to do is ditch this binary belief that you either do the right thing or you make money in the short term. And that is what has plagued and held back the cause of businesses that want to truly operate in a way that is more sustainable in the broadest meaning of the word. You ask yourself 4 questions. Will sustainability drive growth? Will it build trust? Will it reduce risk? Or will it help you manage costs for the long term? Now, if it doesn't do one or more of those 4 things, why are you doing it? And if it does, how can you then start to understand how you codify it, capture it, quantify it, measure it, track it, report it, evaluate it, improve on it, all the things that you do in a normal business?
What should individuals be doing, do you think, to help create a richer life? Is it using their vote at the ballot box, perhaps pressuring their pension plans to drive change for capital markets, or changing their own lifestyles? Where do individuals have the most impact in your opinion?
I think your 2 suggestions are spot on. Understanding what power you can have as a voter is absolutely critical. It's very easy to think I'm just one person, I can't make a difference. But of course, if everybody thought that, nothing would change. So I'm not. It's dangerous to make people feel that on their own they can make a material difference. But actually, every single one of us can make a difference. And if we all do it, it adds up to a lot. And crucially, it's that thing when you're a change agent of being a slightly weird one. Some of us have to be the first ones who say, well, have you even thought about who your pension invests in? How would you feel if it's one of these people that spews plastic out into the Indonesian Ocean or whatever it is? So just putting a bit of your own personal energy into it, because you will find again that builds and has a flywheel effect.
Where do you see the most powerful incentives? Where do you see that things could change materially if we can make relatively small changes to how these incentives and balances work?
I always go back to my core view, which is that what will drive positive change in the face of everything that we're dealing with at the moment is 2 things. The first is voter intention, and the second is capital markets. So let's just talk about those 2 briefly. There is an enormous amount of pressure on governments right now in the teeth of COVID to create what's being called a green recovery. I can't remember now how many different coalitions and lobbying groups of major businesses, multi-sector, have written to governments of all hue, all around the world to say, first of all, if you're lending any businesses money, the quid pro quo for that has to be a set of green conditions when they come out. And secondly, the policies that you put in place for fiscal stimulus to help rebuild economies has to build a future that is a green economy, because this is our last chance to do that. And markets are going to do, I think, to more and more industries what they've done to coal already, which is to say, no thank you, you're part of the past. What I want to do is I want to invest in the future. But I think we're going to see a flywheel effect And I think we're going to see a huge amount of competition, and I believe and hope we're going to see a shift away from the old language of are they good at ESG, which, let's face it, is a compliance measure, better than nothing, to is this a company that's part of the future? That's what I believe.
So Sue, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank you.
Good stuff. Good luck with it.